Hey Husker fans, Sam McKewon with the Omaha World-Herald and Husker Extra. This is the three keys for Nebraska against Louisiana Tech. The Huskers are on the board with a win. They're 1-2 this season after beating Northern Illinois 35-11 Saturday night in Memorial Stadium. The first win of the Matt Rhule era. Also, the first win for Matt Rhule inside Memorial Stadium. He gets to go back and do it again, and so long as the thunderstorms that might happen don't delay anything, I think Nebraska is probably in store for win number 2. They're about a 3-touchdown favorite over the Bulldogs. Louisiana Tech comes out of the American Athletic Conference. They are a team that can move the football. They've run it and thrown it with equal proficiency this season. Their defense hasn't been great. They've struggled at times. Gave up 40 to North Texas, gave up a whole bunch of points to SMU as well. SMU probably the best team that Louisiana Tech has faced up to this point. So we'll see where it goes from here. Nebraska has questions, as we all know, on offense. Who's going to play quarterback? Is it going to be Heinrich Haarberg or Jeff Sims? Haarberg played pretty well in his first game against Northern Illinois. Jeff Sims is on the mend from an ankle injury that he suffered at Colorado. We know who the running back is going to be. Anthony Grant is going to be your starter, almost certainly, because of season-ending injuries to Gabe Ervin and Ramir Johnson. At receiver, they have 3, Billy Kemp, Alex Bullock, Marcus Washington. Do they have 4 or 5? We're not sure, because they haven't really been playing. So lots of questions on the offensive side of the ball. The defense has been rock solid through 3 weeks. Even though they wore down a little bit at Colorado, man, they have been really, really good. Otherwise dominant against Northern Illinois, only allowing 149 yards and only 69 yards, I believe, until the final drive of the game. Might have been 79, 89 yards. They just didn't allow very much until the last drive of the game. Okay, so let's get to the keys for this week. Nebraska 3-touchdown favorite. Key number 1, land grant. Nebraska's land grant university. Did you know that? I do. I did. I do. Anthony Grant is the running back for the Huskers. He rushed for 915 yards last year. This season, he hasn't rushed for nearly as many because he's basically been the number 3 back. He was benched against Colorado after fumbling at Minnesota. Comes back in the Louisiana Tech game, or I'm sorry, in the Northern Illinois game. Ran for a touchdown, 47 yards. Now he's the starter. Guess what? He's going to be fine. He may fumble. That may happen. But this is a guy that knows how to run the football. He's toted it many times before. He toted it one time, 32 times last year in a game. So he's not afraid to carry the football, and he's pretty durable, and he's pretty good out of the backfield too. He can catch the football, and not maybe the best pass blocker on the planet, but you know what? Not a lot of college running backs are. Anthony Grant can get the job done. His backups are Emmett Johnson and Quentin Ives. We don't know much about either one, let's be honest. Neither one of them has played much college football. Quentin Ives hasn't played any college football. Emmett Johnson's played only a little bit. Anthony Grant's probably going to get a lot of the carries in this game. He's going to get a lot of the playing time, and he will be fine in this system. I think Nebraska needs to be comfortable riding him. Give him the football. He may fumble. You never know. It's possible, but at the same time, this is a guy that can break a big run. He did it a lot last year, and he can do it again this season. So land grant, go on the ground with Anthony Grant. Number 2. Scramble drill. Okay, so Louisiana Tech is probably going to run some version of a man defense when they're defending the pass. And what that means is a lot of times when you're running sort of a pressure man defense, you're bringing pressure, but you're also covering the back end man-to-man. Because let's say 4 guys go out for a pass, you might have 5 defenders, you might have 6, but a lot of times those safeties are further back, and so you have man underneath. And anytime you have a man sort of defense, the cornerbacks or the safeties or the nickels, they're turning their backs to the quarterback because they have to follow the player that they're running with. It's usually a trail technique or whatever it is, but often they have to turn their back. When you're running a zone, you drop back and you watch the quarterback because you're trying to pick off a pass or something like that. So in a zone, it's harder to scramble because everybody's watching the QB to some degree. In a man defense, you're following the receiver, so your head's probably not watching that quarterback. That means Nebraska's quarterback, whether it's Sims or Haarberg, I think it'll probably be Haarberg, but we'll see. That quarterback's got to be able to get out and make plays. You've got to make teams pay for running man. And one of the ways you do that is by getting your quarterback out on the edge and letting him run, whether it's on a scramble, up the middle, or it's going outside, if it's a middle rush. Those are the things that Nebraska's going to have to get done. It's one of the things they didn't have when Casey Thompson was a quarterback last year. That just wasn't Casey's strength. It is the strength of Jeff Sims and Heinrich Haarberg. That's the things they do actually pretty well. And so the way that you slow down a blitz, the way that you slow down a super aggressive man defense is to burn them a couple of times with a quarterback run, whether that's a quarterback draw, which is hard to run against a 6-man blitz, or a quarterback scramble, which isn't as hard if Louisiana Tech loses its rush lane disciplines. And so I think quarterback run will be an important part of this game. I think the scramble is going to be an important part of this game. And if they want to try to get the quarterback run going, they have to find ways in which Louisiana Tech bites hard on a fake and then the quarterback goes out the other end. That happened when Heinrich Haarberg scored his 20-yarder against Northern Illinois. Key number 3, heck for Tech. Okay. Louisiana Tech has run the ball fairly well this year. I don't think they're going to do that exactly against Nebraska. I think they'll try to do some things against the Huskers. But the Husker run defense has been really, really good. Whether they have 4 guys in the box, 5, 6, 7, they have been able to consistently slow down run games so far this season. I think Louisiana Tech is probably on par with Colorado, which isn't bad. Once that happens, boy, Nebraska's got to bring the heat against whether it's the starting quarterback, Hank Bachmeier, who transferred from Boise State, or it's the backup there. They've got to be able to bring some heat. Louisiana Tech will counter with some screen passes. They're going to try to take advantage of Nebraska's speed, use Nebraska's speed against it, but they really have to put pressure on this offense, get them behind the sticks, get them to make some mistakes. It would not surprise me at all if this was a game where Nebraska got 3 or 4 turnovers, if they can get them behind the sticks early. If they allow Bachmeier or whomever it is to sit back in that pocket and throw these little 3- and 4-yarders, they'll eventually get them off the field, but they won't be able to get them off the field right away. And they'll matriculate the ball down to the 30 or whatever. That kind of used to be the Eric Chenander defense. I think this defense is way more aggressive and a little bit faster, and I think they're going to try to give Louisiana Tech as much heck as possible. Okay, well, hey, who's going to win this game? I think Nebraska's going to win this game. It would surprise me if Nebraska didn't win this game. That said, the Huskers have to try to play smart football. They have to try to protect the football, and they have to try to run it when they can, and then put a lot of pressure on Louisiana Tech. And hopefully those thunderstorms stay away on Saturday. I think the Huskers win by about that 3-touchdown margin. I don't know if it's going to be more or if it's going to be less. And then we'll all look ahead to playing number 2 Michigan next week in Memorial Stadium. Jim Harbaugh coming back to town. We will cover the 3 keys for that game next week. For this week, I'm Sam McKewon with the Omaha World-Herald and Husker Extra.